Yo, what is good, fellas? Hope you boys are all having a fantastic day. Today we're talking about the best abilities and superstar X factors to use on your team in Madden 25. Now, if you guys are new around here, we do post videos just like this one literally every single day. So if you guys like this video, you find it helpful, or for whatever reason, you guys really like me, odds are each and every single one of you is in the right place. Now, when it comes to the best abilities and superstar X factors to actually use on your team, I did make this video about 3 weeks ago, and the issue with that video was I was like, listen, abilities aren't too crazy right now. There's nothing really going on regarding abilities. And as soon as we know more, and as soon as abilities are actually good, I will update this video. Fast forward to today, and abilities are getting good, so you know what time it is. It is time to update this video. I also will say, quick disclaimer, I am currently away on fall break, so this video is being pre-recorded by like 3 days. If there is any major change with the ability meta over this time frame, I will make sure to drop it down in the comment section, but odds are nothing's changing. All right, so we're going to start with actual abilities first. And in my opinion, the best quarterback ability in this game belongs to one quarterback and one quarterback only at the time of this recording, Will Levis. Now, if another quarterback gets Gunslinger, well, he's also going to be a top tier card because Gunslinger is by far the best quarterback ability in this game as of today. It grants faster passing speeds. It also makes your balls go faster. Now, what I mean by that, your throwing animation. Obviously, throwing animation is something that matters. We talk about releases all the time. Will Levis also has a very fast release to begin with. Faster releases, though, the faster they can get the ball out of their hands, the faster it gets into your wide receiver's hands. Basically, the better. Gunslinger takes that and just makes it significantly faster. The fact that this card does cost 4 AP for it is very expensive. It's basically all of your offensive AP. But I really don't think it matters because your quarterback is the most important position on your offense, and putting the most of AP and ability points on your quarterback, for me personally, is the way to go. And Gunslinger, well, is the best quarterback ability. Now, another ability on your quarterbacks that I don't hate, it's gift wrap. It gives higher chances to complete passes to uncovered targets. Basically just prevents your receivers and running backs from dropping the ball nearly as much as they do. Now, this was an ability that was basically a necessity last year in Madden 24 to have a top-tier quarterback. Nowadays, not nearly as important, but that's because KOs are not as disgustingly broken. Besides the point, though, if you guys do have 1 AP and want to toss something on your quarterback, out of all of these, I think gift wrap is the way to go. Now, when it comes to running back abilities, I do think there are a few ways you guys can actually go about this. For me personally, I am a pass-first player, so my running backs, I want them to be able to catch the ball, as well as run additional routes. The Texas route is one of the best routes in MUT. It is a man-beating menace. The fact that running back apprentice gives you Texas routes, as well as some other decent routes, makes this one of the best abilities in the game, period. Now, there are only a select few running backs that get it, but in my opinion, the best running back in this game, Devon A-Chain, also does get running back apprentice, so it makes this card even better. Now, other ways you could go about running back abilities. Jukebox, I don't hate. The juke move is not as good as it's been in years past, but still pretty solid. Tossing Jukebox on your running back, definitely a solid way to go. An ability that isn't as good anymore. Spin cycle, I would stay away. At one point, though, when the spin move was broken, that would have been one of the better abilities to rock with. Now, as for a 1 AP ability to run on your running backs, a few that I could understand running. 1, Energizer. Fumbling in this game sucks, so having something to counter that, Energizer, helps with fatigue, definitely a solid way to go. Also, second wind, decent recuperation, recovers from fatigue at a faster or increased rate. Also, all 3 of these solid ways to go, but honestly, not necessary on your running back. Right, but as for the wide receiver abilities, what I think you need on your cards, there isn't really much. In my opinion, though, probably the best wide receiver abilities are these apprentices, outside apprentice and slot apprentice. If you guys have noticed one thing missing from your typical hot routes this year, it's zig routes. You can no longer come in here and just audible to a zig route without having slot apprentice on your wide receiver. This is one of the best man-beating routes, similar to Texas routes. It's also just really good at getting your players open. The fact that it is now behind an apprentice or a hot route master, which we don't have quite yet, is annoying, but again, it makes it even better. So slot apprentice is actually the best wide receiver ability. I also think outside apprentice is solid, but slot apprentice is really good. You also do get deep cross and short crosses, which again, really solid routes. As for anything else I like on my wide receivers, I do like mid-in and mid-out elite a little bit, especially for running corner routes and like skinny post and slants. But again, you can't get much better than slot apprentice. I cannot stress this enough. Zig routes, so dirty. So that was a lot about offense. Now let's talk about some defensive abilities. In my opinion, the best defense ability in this game right now is actually Pick Artist, which is not something new. It's something that we have, needed on your defense pretty much all over for years now since abilities have been introduced into Madden. It gives you better catching and improved stamina and interception returns. The key thing here, better catching. Now, one thing this year in Madden, which has just been so dumb, dropped picks. The same reason you're putting gift wrapped on your quarterbacks for dropped passes, which on your offense should not be happening as much as it does, it happens even more on defense. So putting Pick Artist on your DBs, on your safeties, if you want to run a top tier, top meta, top card team, you need to have Pick Artist on your top tier DBs and safeties. It just makes them better. Also, that improved stamina on interception returns is cool, but it's really for that better catching. As for other abilities on your DBs and safeties, I don't hate the KOs, so like medium route KO, short route KO, mid end zone KO. All of the KOs are good, obviously not as good as they were last year. Last year they were just broken. Do I miss them? No, they're good. They're here, not as broken objectively, but still decent abilities there. Like you guys can see here, mid-zone KO is for zone, mid-route KO or medium route KO is for man. Know which one you're putting on based off what scheme you run. For me personally, I am a zone majority of the time player, so I would run mid-zone KO, but if I was using cam curl abilities, Pick Artist would be my play here. Now, I actually have no defensive line abilities that I actually enjoy using. We can take a look at Will Anderson, who is probably one of the best edge rushers when it comes to putting abilities on him. There are some decent things here, like Secure Tackler is cool, but it's not necessary. No outsiders, nowhere near as good as it was in Madden 24. The run game just isn't what it used to be, as well as Speedster. It's there. It's nothing special. Like I said earlier, there's just nothing that game-breaking on the defensive line this year, which is good and bad at the same time. Where is inside stuff? Bring me back an inside stuff. I need an inside stuff. Speaking of inside stuff, Quinnen Williams does get an ability similar to inside stuff. It's called interior threat or goal line stuff. Goal line stuff is basically inside stuff, but within the 5-yard line. It's cool. It's not great. It's there. I wouldn't recommend using it. Interior threat is dominant pass rush moves from the interior. Inside stuff is more of a run stopping ability. Interior threat is cool, but again, it's a 1 AP ability. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, and I would stay away from it. If you guys took anything away from the best abilities to use, offensive abilities are better, and on defense, you just need to use Pick Artist. There's no D-line abilities that I love, and again, Pick Artist is just top. But now into the best superstar X Factors. Now, if you guys have been living under a rock, glowing X Factors are back, but they're only back for AKA cards. So we're only going to be talking about AKA cards because I think those are objectively the best to use. As for an offensive one that I think is the best, it is evasive, starts on for 4 plays or 3 plays depending on what card you have it on, and it grants better spin and juke moves. It's just a good time. You just sit here and spam your analog stick like this, and you just juke around your opponent. If you guys haven't watched Tyreek Hill highlights, and when I mean highlights, I mean Tyreek Hill gameplay of this 88 overall card, watch somebody use them. With evasive, it is a good time. Now, an X Factor that I don't like is Rack 'em Up this year. I would stay away from it. Ankle Breaker is cool, but evasive for 0 AP or evasive for 1 AP, in my opinion, is just a better value play. Now, I am recording this video a few days before we actually get Monday's AKAs, and I do think this Monday we are seeing Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes comes in with a disgustingly gross X Factor, I will drop it down in the comment section because I'm sure they're going to give Mahomes the AKA Glaze or the AKA Mahomes, and if that's the case, it's just going to be really good. Kidding, not kidding, but we will talk about it if it is actually usable. As for other glowing X Factors I love, there isn't anything that's like that really game-breaking. Obviously, there are some players that get AKA Pick Artist, which is actually Paul Krause is the one I can think of off the top of my head. I'm also pretty sure Hitman or Harrison Smith gets it as well, but I actually do run Pick Artist on my Paul Krause. Really good, starts on for 3 plays, better catching and improved stamina on interception returns. It's just a glowing X Factor back there. It's basically like Pick Artist, what we just talked about, but just even better for 3 plays. As for the defensive line, I do think there are a few ways you could go about using defensive line glowing X Factors. One that I have been a big fan of so far this year, Double or Nothing. Actually really good, grants dominant pass rush moves at twice the cost. It just gives you better run blocking and pass blocking sheds. Solid. A lot of these AKA defensive line players do get it, which we've actually gotten a way too many amount of AKA defensive line players. We've had AKA for what, like 6, 7, 8 weeks, and how many defensive line players do we already have? But it does mean that we do have a good sample of what abilities are good. Out of everything we've seen, in my opinion, Double or Nothing is just the way to go regarding them. Now, the only other one we could talk about is so scheme dependent, so hold on here for a second. If you guys do run the ball, now I said running the ball is not good. You guys run the ball, using Run Protector is actually a decent way to play. Kyle Juszczyk gets it as well as the Gronk. It's cool, stronger protection versus quick run block shed moves, but I don't know. It's just not all the way there for me. Depending on how you play though, it can be good. And last but not least, another apprentice, which like I've been saying is been the way to go for offensive side of things, AKA tight end apprentice. Very good. Only issue with it, it starts on for 4 plays, goes away, but for those 4 plays, you have some decent additional tight end routes. There also is a AKA wide receiver apprentice. Marvin Harrison gets it if you guys are using Marv, who is a fantastic value for his price. Let me pull him up right here. I would 100% use this AKA wide receiver apprentice on him for 1 AP. Starts on for 4 plays, 4 additional hot routes at any wide receiver position. So this is basically outside and slot apprentice on 1 card. So toss him in the slot, toss him out wide. You're getting all the additional hot routes for 4 plays, obviously. But if you need to spend 1 AP, you have Marvin Harrison, you want to use an X Factor on him, hey, I would go for it. And fellas, that is everything we got today. Let me know down below, what abilities are you currently rocking with? Who is your favorite player that has abilities? As always, I appreciate you guys for checking out today's video. One more time, I am away until Tuesday, so if anything does change within the meta, the only thing I think that could change is if Patrick Mahomes gets a disgusting stack, which like I don't think we see a disgusting stack quite yet, but if it is the case, do not worry. We will have it covered down below in the comment section, and obviously, as soon as I get back. But until then, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you boys later. Peace. Have a good one, fellas.